Hey y'all, welcome back to ATS. So we're still doing a little bit of hot shotting. There'll be a video somewhere before this one of one of the hot shot trailers available for this truck. This is the second one. It's the car trailer. If you haven't seen the horse trailer one, go check it out. I will also be doing another video after this of the gooseneck trailer to kind of showcase it a little bit. But anyways, we got a horse trailer, or we got the horse trailer. We got the car hauler now. And as you see, I didn't paint it white. It just didn't look right, so I just went ahead and left it on the factory black color, and we got 3 cars up there that we're hauling on my truck. So I did have to do a little rooting around to find a load. We're going to get going here, and I can tell you more about it as we cruise along here. So we're going up to Grand Junction, Colorado. We are in Cedar Rapids. No, not Cedar. We're in Cedar City, Utah. So I delivered the last load over in Arizona, over in Camp Verde, and I just switched trailers over there because I know how to. I got a way I can switch them around, and I switched trailers, and there was no loads available for this trailer there, so kind of stumped me. So I looked around on the map, and the best load for kind of the videos I do, this being a little bit longer of a trip than normal, I had to fast travel or quick travel over to here just to get a load for this thing. So this is 315 miles. It's going to be a little bit longer of a video than usual, or probably close to some of the other ones, the trucking side at least. So we got this one we're going to do here. I did notice that this trailer empty also does a little bit of the brake squeal at times when you're stopping, like the brakes are locking up, the tires squealing, but not as bad as the horse trailer, so it's not as bad. So I'm assuming it's because the trailer might be a little heavier when it's empty, and obviously when it's loaded you're not going to see as or hear as much. But I don't remember that being an issue before, because I know I've pulled this before and I don't ever remember hearing tires locking up. So I'm not sure what the issue is with that. If maybe there's something new that was changed within SDS and one of their past updates, or if it's a change that was in this mod itself, because there was an update here a while back. So anyways, the car hauler loads, I don't mind them to the most part. I don't really remember what this load was paying. I probably should have looked when I could tell you guys, but I don't really remember what it was paying, but sure it was a lot better. As a matter of fact, because I'm in single player mode, I can hit my map button and we can actually pull up our cargo market here, and we can look and see what the other loads were paying. So about 50 a mile. Mine was at the very bottom list, so this was probably about 45 a mile maybe. But these don't pay too bad. 60 a mile at the best, going out to Ardmore, but that's a 1,200 mile trip. I didn't want to do a 1,200 mile video. If I did something like that, it would be in multi-parts. So anyways, that's pretty much that. Let's see, we get back to driving mode here. Yeah, this trailer's not too bad. It pulls pretty nice. It's definitely longer than the other one, so you really got to watch your turns a little more. I've already, ran up the curve a couple times, just maneuvering a little bit, but just because I forgot this is a little bit longer. A little construction up here. Slow down for this. What they're doing up here ain't working on the road itself. They're just working on the side of the road, but it's what it is. So yeah. So, when it comes to real life, I have never pulled cars with a trailer like this on a pickup as far as hot shot, but I have hauled cars on a couple of other kind of trailers. Back when I had my Peterbilt, I worked for a friend of mine in Texas, and I quit working for him and went to work at another place. And when I moved from the first job at that truck, I was supposed to got into doing RVs on a flat, what they call a lowboy trailer, which is where we can haul anywhere from about 2 to 6 trailers depending upon length. normally you would haul 2 to 3. The 5 or 6 would be more rare loads. And I had been pulling RVs before in the past, so I got with this company and said, hey, I want to do RVs, but I want to do it with my big truck. And I made sure that the age was not an issue with the truck and stuff like that, and asked them, well, what all do I need as far as to haul for you guys? And they started talking numbers about the trailers and such. So I tell you what, I said, I've still got a pickup truck that's set up to haul RVs. I can bring that truck on temporarily until we can get our numbers worked out and I can get a trailer for that truck to haul those trailers on. Well, time went by and I kept asking them about, what do they look for in specs, for the trailer and, all this stuff. And they eventually, after a few months, told me that they weren't even interested in the big truck anymore. And I got to talking around to some people and they said, well, the reason why is because they already had you in hauling, with the pickup truck. So they were fine with that. They didn't care if you switched to a different department. They wasn't going to help you. So I still had a payment on the big truck to make. So I said, well, that truck can't just sit there and not make no money. So I was going to put it up for sale. And a friend of mine told me about hauling vans. And he knew about this through another guy that we worked with, or I had worked with before in the past. They still work together. So I got him with them, and I won't name the company. They were a good company, small family-owned company. And I started out by buying a step deck trailer with ramps to haul these vans on. Well, I found out that that was not the best option in town. It wasn't horrible. So these vans that I hauled weren't just your typical cargo vans or even minivans. They were handicap vans. So there's a company in Indiana called Bronability, and there's a couple other companies that work with this stuff. And they Bronability buys new and used minivans, Ford Explorers. They quit buying the new ones because they're four-wheel drive now, basically, or rear-wheel drive. But they only do this to vehicles that are front-wheel drive. And what they do is they cut the floorboard out, they lower the floorboard, they build a ramp system so that you can get in and out with a wheelchair. And it's through the side on most of them. So I thought, it's a pretty cool company and stuff like that. Well, the vans sit lower because of that cutout floorboard. And I told them it'd been nice if they'd have made it aware, as transporters, if we could, raise the suspension up, because most of it was on air ride suspension. And we gotta slow down here. Penny. So I started out with that trailer, and eventually I decided to sell the trailer. So I sold the trailer, and I started using one of the company trailers. So the first trailer, I was only able to get 3 vans on there, kind of like these cars right now. And the second trailer, which was their trailer, was able to haul 4 vans because it had some lifts on it. So that was kind of nice. And then I found out about a trailer I could buy where I could get 5 vehicles on there, and possibly 5 of the vans, but definitely 4, but maybe 5 cars on the return ride. So I inquired about that, and I ended up purchasing a trailer from a dealership down in Jacksonville, Florida, and I was at the time up in northern Indiana. So I went down there, purchased the trailer. Unfortunately, I got screwed over on the financing. My financing for that trailer, I think, was like $1,700 or $1,800 a month. My truck was only $1,000, so it was very steep. And after that, I started having even more problems with the truck, and even started having issues with the trailer, and I got frustrated with it. I had a issue with one of my lifts, and found out it was going to take 2 or 3 weeks to get the parts. And I basically told him, I said, look, I'm done. I said, here's my 2-week notice, but it's going to take that long to get parts. I know y'all are out of trailers, so I'm sorry, but I'm just going to have to cut ties, and I'm going to go back into RVs. And I ended up selling the truck. So anyways, during that time, I would haul handicap vans from northern Indiana to pretty much any direction. I went as far out as Maine with multiple stops in between at times. I went as far out as Arizona. I think I went out there once or twice. Went to Texas a lot. We went out to Dallas, down to Austin a lot. So just different places like that we went to. And you know, it was a good job. I enjoyed the work, but the issues I had with the truck and the trailer and the amount of money that I was spending, you have to wait, car, that guy. You know, it was just killing me, money wise and profit wise. It was just a big struggle. I need to slow down here. It's only 53 here. So these trucks, just so you know, do not have the retarder brake built into the transmission. That's no option, but your engine brake does work even with cruise control on. So it'll hold my speed. It'll hold it about, currently the way I got set up, it'll hold it about 3 above what I got it set at now. Pass this guy up. I'm noticing off to my left, I thought I was seeing it on the map here. It was a picture spot. I'll wait until I can maybe get on this curve and see if I can see it again. I don't know if there's a picture of maybe the mountains here to my left that I can get, or maybe I missed it. But I don't remember seeing that, and it looks like I hadn't done it. Yeah, it's right there. I wonder. It's going to get ugly if I do it this way. Here. What I'm going to do is from right here, I'm going to hit equal on my keyboard, and this puts me into photo mode. And sure enough, I can get that. So it's the San Rafael. Let me move this down so you can see a little bit. San Rafael Swell Top View Area. I don't remember that view area. I don't remember seeing on the map. So we're going to get back and get it at the picture with the truck. Get that one out of the way. I'll make note of that here in a little bit. Back to driving. That's a little cheat that works in both ATS and ETS. If you're driving along, and even if you're not driving, stopped or something like that, you can hit equal on your keyboard and it will put you in photo mode, and you can take that picture or picture of anything. That's what I use for all my screenshots and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, I did the car hauling thing. I'd haul vans, handicap vans out, sometimes handicap vans in between a little bit. And then I usually hauled, you know, I'd get a return haul of, a variety of cars. Sometimes I would bring vans back that Braun Ability would buy. They're a very good company. They do a lot of handicap conversions. There was another company I hauled some stuff for a couple of times, and they were also in Indiana, but they were in a different spot. They were closer to Fort Wayne, if I'm remembering right, south of Fort Wayne. And they did a different style conversion. So the handicap vans, they cut the floorboard out and lowered the floor, and then they had a ramp that when the door was open, the ramp would come out so you could go in and out. And I don't remember if there was a door cut out the bottom or not. And like I said, they sat pretty low. Now, another conversion that this other company did, they could do this too, basically like 4-door trucks, SUVs, like say a Suburban or a Tahoe, something like that. And what they would do is they would take the doors off and weld them together, repaint everything. And they would remove the center post between the front and rear door. And they would build they would cut out the floorboard and build a sliding track. So what it would do is you would hit a button and you'd hold the button, and the whole thing would move out. The doors are welded to it and everything. And it would move out, and as soon as it got out to full reach, then it would lower you down to the ground, and then you could drive off and on. And then, you know, so you basically say get out of the vehicle that way, and then you would have a kind of like a key fob like you do for your keyless entry in your car, and you would run it back up and then back in. And then of course, once you got done at the store or wherever you went, you got to do the same thing to get back in. It was a really neat conversion. And the first time I did that, hauled one of those, I picked up a brand new Chevrolet pickup. Even met the guy that owned the truck. He bought this thing brand new. It had 4 miles on it. He bought it brand new from the Chevrolet dealership, and this thing was loaded. This thing had every bell and whistle. And mind you, this was roughly around probably 2017 or 18. And this had every bell and whistle at the time. And kind of find out, I talked to the guy a little bit, and he was injured in the military, I believe in Afghanistan. He didn't really go into details of his injuries. He obviously couldn't walk and was in a wheelchair. and he was very thankful that I was hauling this for him to get it done. So I got to talk to the guy for a good little bit, and then I went and delivered the truck. And of course, that part was easy because it still had the seat. I don't remember how long it was. It was probably close to a month. I got a call to haul that truck back to that guy. And it was actually into Missouri. So I said, okay, you know, I don't have a problem hauling it. And so I went back over and picked it up. This is where it changed. There's no driver's seat now in this truck. They removed the driver's seat, did all their modifications and everything. So for me to drive that truck onto my trailer, I had to use a folding lawn chair, you know, and I had a metal one like you would see at like, I'm sure everybody here has been to a wedding at one point or another. They have all the metal folding chairs. I had one that was metal with no soft cushion on it, so I could carry it on the frame of my truck. And I had to put that in there and try to keep that thing from sliding while driving it up onto my trailer. You talk about a trip. And I hauled a Tahoe like that too. But I took it back, and the guy met me there. I mean, he was sitting in the parking lot, and he was taking pictures as I rolled into the parking lot. And I told him, I said, man, I said, you know, I'm really appreciative of doing this for you. I said, and I don't mind you taking the pictures. I said, if you don't mind, I'd like you to stay over there out of my way while I'm unloading this. I said, because, you know, I was told I had to drive it on a folding chair, you know, and, you know, just in the event of, you know, something happened, I didn't really want that kind of evidence, you know, out there. So he was fine with that, but he was very happy, and he got to see the whole thing work, and I got to show it to him and all that stuff. And I hauled another one that was a Suburban, and this was a used vehicle. It was for a judge that was also disabled, and I hauled it for him. And what had happened was he had came out to Austin, Texas. I don't know what he was doing. He didn't really get into detail on that, but while he was there, it broke down. I think it was the Logan mechanisms and stuff. It broke, and it had the same system on it. And so they was able to get him back to his home location and do the repairs needed to get the thing running again and up for him. And in the meantime, you know, he was without the vehicle. So I brought the vehicle to him and had the same thing. I'd use my folding chair again to load and unload this thing. It was pretty much a trip. Now, where do I got to take this thing to? Oh, right there. That's not horrible, but not. Let's do this. It's going to be a little ugly, but we're going to go in here. We're going to make a U-turn, get as close to that as we can get. So yeah, I've had some interesting times hauling cars, but like I said, it was for the handicapped folk, and nothing against anybody that's handicapped or disabled. And I especially respect our veterans that have done a lot for our country here in the U.S. Let's see. As far as I can go forward, let's see if we can get this in here. What's going on here? Okay. Sometimes if you don't press the brake hard enough and you're trying to back up or something like that, and you change gears, it'll still kind of stay in that first gear. Straighten up a little bit more here, but it still kind of stays in that one gear. So straighten this up. Not horrible for the given space right here. This is kind of a tight area. Imagine doing this in a semi truck. Of course, this truck's probably about as long as a semi tractor anyway, so it's about the same. Pretty close in this spot though. Get this on back. And boom, right there. Let's see how we did. And this is a little bit longer run, but definitely a lot more money. Look at that, 16 grand, which is nice, you know. So if you're in for the money, you know, that's where you go with that. So yeah, shut this thing down. And now you can see the deck of the trailer now that it's not loaded. With a little bit you can see there. It's not a bad looking trailer. It's got all LED lights on it. So you turn the lights real quick. Can't really see them that good in the dark, or in the daylight, I mean, but you know, they look pretty nice. They work pretty good. So turn those back off. Look around for a second here. All right. Well, guys, so that's the Hot Shot trailer for cars, for the Hot Shot mod that I use. And yeah, So there's that. Like I said before, if you haven't seen the one before this, the horse trailer, check it out. It's still not my favorite trailer to pull, but it is available in there if that's the kind of thing you like. I'm gonna shut this video down and get set up to do another recording with the gooseneck. Hopefully I have better options with the gooseneck as far as finding a load and stuff. So, all right, guys. Well, that's gonna be it for this one. I will catch you later. See ya.